Hello, Dr. Leo is here, and in today's video, I'm going to open up your eyes about mental health conditions and example, or specifically attention deficit hyperactive disorder, which is normally known as ADHD in children, and depression. Are these conditions real, or are they a big pharma scam or scheme to milk your pockets? Coming up next. Most mental health conditions basically hail from an imbalance in neurotransmitters or hormones that regulate our normal functioning in the body or in the brain. And this does not just come from the blues. So I'll tackle this before I even talk about the causes. I'll just give you a recap on what is happening. So for instance, our men are being diagnosed with depression. Unfortunately, we are losing more men to depression, and the cases are rising day in, day out. And we keep wondering what is happening, because these people are still using antidepressants, but the condition is not getting better. So therefore, in this video, I'm going just to point out, and then at the end of it all, I hope you get to talk to us in the comment section and tell us what your views are. If you really believe that mental health conditions are a real deal, or are they just a scheme that the big pharma uses to extract money and your insurance through buying those drugs? Is it a creation of the big pharma? So we hope you get to converse with us in the comment section. So for instance, our men, they're dying of depression, and they are still on antidepressants, but deaths are still rising due to depression. And we keep wondering what is happening to men. But the point is, antidepressants, what you're not told is the side effects of these antidepressants. And I'm actually wondering if these side effects are the ones that are responsible for these deaths. Because one of the major side effects of antidepressants is basically suicidal thoughts. So you can imagine taking a drug to help you clear off a mental health issue, then you end up in another mental health issue, because suicidal thoughts are even worse than the depression. So these people might end up committing suicide as a result of the drugs that they are taking to help them cure depression. Number two, you will start adding weight. So these are just basically the side effects that happen when people start using antidepressants. They gain massive weight. Even antipsychotics, people start gaining weight. And the first generation antipsychotics and the first generation antidepressants are well known for that. At least the second generation antipsychotics and antidepressants have a lower side effect of gaining weight. However, other side effects have not been subsided. Okay, so once you start gaining weight, then you get into hypertension, you get into diabetes and obesity, even cancer. And you now know the next step is you'll have another prescription that, aside from the prescription that has antidepressants, now you have another one that has antidiabetics, drugs for hypertension, drugs for obesity, and nowadays obesity is marketed, and therefore those surgeries will be part of that. So all that needs money. Antidepressants are very expensive. Drugs for diabetes, new studies always out. New drugs and drug combinations are always out, and they're becoming very expensive. And it's even disturbing that our insurance covers do not cater for all these drugs. So again, another side effect for these antidepressants that you're using is erectile dysfunction. Most men know that erectile dysfunction is depression enough, because you can imagine you are trying to heal from depression and being retracting from people. Now you're trying to become a social person because you're using these drugs. However, you find a couple that are struggling with their marital issues, or you find a man who has just had a chance to have a woman, and then sexually this man cannot even perform. So you cannot erect because of the side effects. And these are the things that they never tell you. So you get erectile dysfunction as a result of using antidepressants. That is depression to men. And most men know that. It is enough depression when you have erectile dysfunction or when you have premature ejaculation, because it steps on your ego. It drags your pride in the mud. And that is something that I think should be addressed. Now, I hope men talk to me also. Did you know about depression? Or when you started having these episodes of retracting, and then you went to a doctor or that specialist, are they the ones who convinced you that you are depressed, that you have depression? Or were you aware of this depression? Because I tend to think most people the doctors or the specialists of mental health are the ones who make it worse for you, because they bring it to your attention that you're depressed and they pump it into your head. And once you believe, you become. Okay, so again, could that be still part of the Big Pharma scheme to just get you to slavery, into drugs? Because once the doctor tells you you're depressed, then you don't have an option but take the drugs that he's writing. So you'll take them religiously. Then when you end up in these side effects, again, there will be another drug. Why is it that every condition that you're going through, even those conditions that hail from those drugs, require another drug to correct them? Now, men aside, for our women have been exposed to hormonal contraceptives and the agenda of the West. And then our women are getting depressed 7 years down the line after using these contraceptives. Now, it sounds as a good idea in the beginning that you'll have access to free and unprotected sex without worrying about getting pregnant. However, these hormones that you're supplementing from external are the ones that are causing hormonal imbalances in your body. And these are some of these side effects of these hormonal contraceptives have been linked to depression. If you ever get a leaflet from that hormonal contraceptive package, you will be surprised with the number of side effects that these things have. And women know, once you start using these hormonal contraceptives, you have headaches and migraines that don't clear. You have vaginal spotting. You have hormonal imbalances, sometimes painful menstruation, sometimes you lack those menstruation periods. Okay, or that cycle is distorted. So you end up in more trouble than you are trying to solve. So the Western agenda has really enslaved our women. Women are practicing characters or morals that were not part of the African woman. Now, all these are linked to that chain of depression. Now, you're using them 5-7 years down the line, you will be diagnosed with depression. And guess what? Nobody will ever tell you that the drugs that you're using are the serious problem, because everybody wants to play safe and everybody is brainwashed by the Big Pharma, starting from your favorite doctor. Some of them are paid to just propagate this agenda and also to push these drugs. You've heard of medical representatives, those people who come to hospitals and walk into consultation rooms and talk to doctors. They pay them for them to push their drugs. You've heard of them, I know, and some of you are part of that, are part of those med reps. So it is not your health. It's not about your health. It's always business as usual. And these things are getting worse by day. Women are getting in problems. Women are embracing feminist ideas, and women are getting older because they don't want to, without being married, because they don't want to get attached or to be dependent on a man. And once you get there, then issues begin, because you realize you have a biological clock, and that biological clock starts to win out. Okay, so once you have limited time, then you want to get pregnant beyond 35 years old, that becomes a serious problem. I'm not pushing women to get married or to get children early, but I'm saying it is even safe for you to get children early and for you to avoid hormonal contraceptives totally. Those are the drugs that will lead you into problems. Now, again, we are all responsible for what we eat. If you eat bad food, if you consume too much carbohydrates and processed foods, you will start adding weight. Weight gain or obesity is actually a reason enough for every woman to get depressed, because once you gain weight, you get into estrogen dominance. Add on that those contraceptives, another estrogen dominance. Then this will lead you to PCOS. This will lead you to infertility, which is the major cause of depression in married women, which will lead you to painful menstruation, which will lead you to irregular cycles and all these hormonal imbalances, lack of sleep, and all these conditions. So these are a serious problem in our women, and we hope that after you watch this video, you withdraw those hormonal contraceptives, be it an injection, be it an implant, or be it the tablets. Please do not use hormonal contraceptives. We will not stop insisting on that. Now, women aside, how about our children who are diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactive disorder? Do you think it's a real medical condition? Does it need attention? So I'll tell you this. Most of these children, some of them are just active. They want to explore. Children are explosive. They want to move around. They want to do things differently. However, some of these children cannot concentrate on one thing. And this is what they call ADHD. That's what most people know it as. Now, ADHD, what they do, they'll give you drugs for this child. So once the kid goes to hospital and is diagnosed of ADHD, they will give you drugs for this child. So these drugs are supposed to improve this child's hormones and then stabilize them. Then this child starts to concentrate on one thing. Now, no problem for me. However, I'm questioning this because hormones are not sourced from drugs. Hormones are sourced from amino acids, which are basically protein in nature. So therefore, why don't we focus on the cause of this ADHD or on the cause of this so-called depression and not the aftermath of this depression? Most doctors, most hospitals, most companies focus their attention, and there's so much awareness being created about mental health issues, but nobody's addressing the real deal. The real deal is in the diets. Now, even if you eat healthy diets and you don't have a fixed gut, you will still get into these mental conditions, if at all they exist. The point is, you need to fix your gut first before you start eating healthy keto, and then you start to absorb these amino acids. For example, tryptophan in their appropriate forms, because tryptophan is an amino acid that comes from protein in the diet. And once you absorb it, then it shall be used to synthesize neurotransmitters that are very helpful in your brain. And one of those neurotransmitters is basically serotonin, which regulates sleep, which is actually involved in mental health disorders. So if you don't focus on the cause, you're focusing on the aftermath, you're not helping, because you'll take these people into other prescriptions due to the side effects of what you're just trying to give them to help them heal. So my point is, fix the diet. And how do you fix the diet? Drop sugar in all forms. Drop processed foods and packaged foods. Those foods that you buy from the supermarket that are packaged and advertised, drop them. Drop seed oils, because these are the ones that mess up your hormonal regimens entirely. Okay, walk in the sun to stabilize your hormones. So after you drop all these bad foods, the wheat products, the cereals, once you drop that, then you have a chance to start healing the gut. And the gut plays a very important role in mental health conditions. So there's a direct relationship between the stomach and the brain. So if you fix your gut through dropping these foods, then you'll absorb nutrients in their appropriate form. For instance, how do you stabilize your hormones? Number one, fix your gut through fasting. Once you start fasting, you have a fixed gut, you absorb proteins and amino acids in their appropriate form and trace elements, and therefore you fix your system entirely, including your brain. Number two, if you eat healthy keto, you will get these amino acids from that diet. So number one, start by fasting to fix your gut so that you can absorb nutrients. Number two, go straight and walk in the midday sunlight. It is an endocrine stabilizer. Free. People will tell you that the sun causes cancer, because they want you not to get that vitamin D so that you get your hormones imbalanced and therefore end up with the big pharma to buy drugs. Be careful with every drug you take. No human being was designed to take drugs, because drugs, remember, in Kenya, drugs are regulated by the Pharmacy and Poisons Board. The word is poisons, which means drugs are poisons at lower or regulated doses. Avoid poisons. Okay, you can fix this through your diet. Now, after eating healthy keto, walking through the sun, and then also sleep. Have these sleeping patterns that are very healthy. Sleep at least 8 hours a night. Shut down all those blue screens in your house, your phone, your television, your laptop, and take by 10 p.m. and go and sleep. Once you sleep, you stabilize your hormones. Okay, then be creative. Men, be involved in working. Be productive. Do something. Don't just sit there and waiting for to be helped by a doctor and by drugs. Go work. Go into the gym and do exercises. Actually, the gym, you will only fix depression by going to the gym. If at all you're a man and you're depressed, go to the gym. Lift the bar. That is the temple of the man. Okay, so do not be reliant on amitriptyline. And the next time you go to a doctor because your amitriptyline is not working, they change that drug to citalopram or escitalopram. So they are just changing the brands and how they work, but they are not changing the real deal, which is the diet. Nobody's talking about the diet because they want you to be a slave to the big pharma. So if you feel like this video is actually touching you, please start changing now. Depression is in your head, is in your mind. Depression is not a real medical condition. Clinical depression is a waste of time. Do not go there and be diagnosed of clinical depression and then start antidepressant therapy. It's a waste of time. Drop seed oil, drop cereals. If at all these people cared about your depression or your health, then the seed oil industries will not be existing. Cereal industries will be shut down. Sugar industries will be shut down, and confectionery industries will be shut down. Get your children out of these foods. Let them eat complex carbohydrates. Let them eat meat. Let them eat eggs. Let them eat fish. Let them have, do not allow your children to eat processed foods and in restaurants. Don't be a civilized parent.